Hi, everyone. All sorts of fun things are happening at the moment. And I guess I'm just going to say hello because the Sting doesn't want to play. How much fun can you have that? I'm going to have another go at that. Hi, everyone. Helena here from Speaker Insight. Normally, you would absolutely have Kelly here as well, but me and the lovely Debbie Gilbert are going to talk to you all about why you should be entering awards. Speaker Insight helps speakers, authors, and coaches to build a portfolio business on your terms, which I think, you know, there's a little bit of feedback somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that's actually coming from, so we'll just ignore it for the moment being and see how it actually goes. Say hello in the comments if you are actually joining us live. If you're going to watch on the replay, do a hashtag replay for us. We like it. I know that at the moment, Kelly and I have been running you through all the kind of greatest hits over the last 4 years that we've been doing as training. But every now and then we find a person that is just useful to put in front of you. And Debbie Gilbert is definitely one of those people. So if you are here live, or if later you actually watch this and you go, hang on a minute, I've got some questions about awards, just tag Debbie, myself, or indeed Kelly, or anybody else that's kind of being mentioned in this, and we will actively sort of go on our way. So I can see that I've got about 3 of you on here. So I'm going to invite those 3 of you who are kind of watching to say, tell me, are you hearing some feedback? Because if you are, then I'll do something about it. If you're not, then I'm just going to mosey on through and we'll go from there. But what I'll do is, let's ask you this, because I haven't had the opportunity to play the jingle for quite some time. What's the buzz in your business? What's happening that is exciting, intriguing, or indeed just really gobsmacking for you? What's happened? There's all kinds of fun things going on in this instance. So I'm just going to shut everything down and play again. Right. Okay. Right, I'm just going to say hi to Debbie because I feel like the technology is at least going to support me in doing that. And that's what I'm going to do. So here we are. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Virginia. And yes, we are hearing. Oh, hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. So are you telling me that you are hearing some feedback? Is that what it is? I just want to make sure. I want to make it.
There is some slight feedback there. It's not as bad as it was.
Okay. Okay, well, we're just gonna. I'll just go with it, and we'll just see whether it settles and decides to kind of right itself. So, hi Debbie. Whilst you can live with it, fantastic. That's good enough for me. So, if I don't say your name, it's because I can't actively see. Its feedback is quite bad at your end. Okay, that's intriguing. I don't know what to do to fix it. Debbie, have you got Facebook running in the background for you? Is that...
No, I shut everything down. Let me just double check.
Yeah, me too. So there is.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. We're just gonna.
Yeah, it's all. I don't have anything else open. Whenever I do these, I never have anything else, and I've even turned my phone off.
Right. Well, me too. And apart from, I'm just going to triple check, and we're just going to go with it. So I'm just going to say, whilst everybody else who is there joining us live, tell us what is the buzz in your business, because we do really like to know what you're up to as a speaker, author, coach somewhere in the world. You might just be doing something exciting that someone else wants to join in with, and that's partly why I invited Debbie to join us. So Debbie, before we get into questions, what's the buzz in your business? What's really standing out for you at the moment?
Well, we are obviously in the final 3 weeks of our Best Business Women Awards. So we close on the 8th of June. So my phone is red hot with people asking lots and lots of questions, and lots of emails are coming in. So that's the buzz making us very busy.
And you are potentially not quite drowning yet, and you hopefully have enough support to really kind of help you keep going.
Yeah, it will be the last few days, which are, pretty horrendous, the last 3 or 4 days. But it's definitely hotting up in the last few days.
Well, what I'm gonna is, I'm sure it's a question that we'll kind of come on to in a little while, hopefully, to really spur people on, because awards are an amazing thing. So before I really kind of kick us all off, you and I met when you were just first writing your book.
2017, yes.
We were just actually sitting here going, hang on a minute. I know who you are. This is actually, you know, so that all kind of works. But you're now kind of a marketing expert, and you founded the Best Businesswoman Awards. And so really you are very well placed to sort of talk to us. So tell us a little bit about the awards, but tell us your background and why you went ahead and set this up in the first place. How did all that come about? So give us a potted history of you and the awards.
So I've been in business for 25 years this year.
Woo-hoo!
Woohoo! Got my silver jubilee. And about 2012, so about 2012, 10 years ago. Hard to believe that was 10 years ago. I entered my first business awards and won a business award, and realised the impact that it had on my business, and entered a few more, won a few more, started writing award entries for my clients, and really realised what impact this was having. And then back in 2014, I won an East of England Business Champions Award, and I was one of only 3 women on the stage.
Wow.
And when I got the photographs back, I was looking at it and I thought, you know, I started looking back at some of the ceremonies I'd been to and started really thinking, do you know, there's something a little bit wrong here. Where are all the female entrepreneurs? And at that time, there was only, I would say, 1 or 2 other award programs aimed at women. And they were very much aimed at female corporate leaders or females who were running businesses which were multi-million-pound businesses. And the majority of women do not run multi-million-pound businesses because they work around their family or they work around other commitments in life.
Yeah.
You know, that's the majority and that's a fact. So I just thought something needs to change here. Let me be the one that starts that change. And
good for you.
I do what I do with a lot of the things that I do in my business. I just pinched my nose and I dived in. And I thought, what's the worst that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is no one will sponsor and no one will enter. And that is not what happened. And here we are 8 years later, having celebrated the success of nearly 1,000 women now. So it's incredible. Yeah.
Well done you.
Thank
you. You know, how beneficial to just raise the awareness around that. And so you know, sort of I can imagine. So Kelly and I actually did a couple of years ago now a how to, you know, are you worthy of an award? And we went through a lot of the kind of hows and the wherefore. So I'll pop a link to that in. I'm not going anywhere right now. After this is finished, I'll pop a link into that one in particular as well, because we went through quite a systematic sort of way of doing it. But I figured whilst I have you here and with the awards impending, the deadline, I believe, is the 8th of June. So that makes it quite interesting, your 3 weeks. But of course, there's going to be loads of other things that happen as well. But tell us a little bit, like entice people a little bit around what are some of the things that you've seen the winners go on to do. Obviously, you've got some good evidence of that now, a good 6 years of winners.
Yeah, we have. I mean, some of you may have watched Rip Off Britain and Steph's Lunch, and Aisha Nayar is the solicitor on that program, and she won our Best Legal Services category back in 2018, and that really did put her on the map in terms of TV researchers and journalists. We also have had a lot of our winners go on to BBC Breakfast, BBC News, me included, and various other news programs such as the Victoria Derbyshire Show, who were called upon as experts. But also, that's the PR aspect. But we've got, there is actually a podcast episode about this. We've got Tavina Steele, who attributes her award with us, the Best New Business Award, to gaining her foot in the door of Waitrose and Sainsbury's and the Co-op, because she'd got taste awards for her products, but no business award, nothing to say she was a good businesswoman. And that opened the door for her. And we've got clients that I say clients, we've got previous winners who have won contracts with bigger companies because they've won business awards, not just our awards, but I'm a bit of an evangelist about any awards, as long as they're reputable.
For sure.
Because they do open doors for you. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because, sort of as a marketing strategy, once you've got your ducks in a row, once you really are kind of solidly, there and I dare I say it, proud of it, and that you feel it's running, there's no better way than to actively really up level, because the level of authority and credibility that starts to show up when you pop that little plaque on, or you introduce yourself in your 60-second pitch, if it's one of those things where you are the award winner of blah blah blah, whatever that award is that's relevant to what you're doing, that's really vital. And just it pays dividends just by the very title of itself, doesn't it?
It positions you as an expert in your industry.
Yeah.
It can also position you as a business in your local area that gets you seen above your competitors. So, there are so many different awards out there, and you almost have to do, we do a lot. We recommend people do a business brainstorm. And if anybody wants that document, I'm happy to send it.
Oh, lovely.
And you can then from that start to think, what is my objective here? What type of award do I want to win? Do I want to win best customer service? Do I want to win best business in Hertfordshire? Whatever it might be. So I think you need to have that goal in mind of what you want to be known for.
Yeah.
Do you want to be known locally, nationally, globally? And maybe once you've won a local award, you should be then looking at national awards. If you've won national awards, you should be looking at global awards.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. So there's a rise in it. Virginia would love the document, so I'll get the link off you, and we can pop that in there, for sure. Which it makes sense for people to build it in as part of the strategy. But as you say, and for those of you who've not kind of had a go at a For Intentions yet, that's really the why should I be doing something beforehand. So I'll pop the link to that in here as well, because if you are thinking about awards and you're not quite sure of it, just even looking, exactly as you said, at the category of any award. So, sort of because we're talking about yours at the moment, go and have a look at the different categories and just go, how would I fare? What would I have that's actually in there? And indeed, as you say, we talk about what do you want to be known for and seen as. That's actually one of the things that helps you determine, actually, I want to be known for my exceptional customer service. Okay, great. How would we fare right now? And I think that's one of the key things that people can do. But I want to flip that on its head, actually, and just go, so because I can imagine, even as we're talking about it right now, people are going, yeah, but if I think about my customer service, it's not going to kind of work. So what are some of the things that stop people applying for any award, and how can they get over it?
The reason I set the awards up was because I spoke to lots of women and said, you should be applying for this award, you should be doing that. And they were like, oh, no, I'm not good enough. And what, enter myself? Oh, no. And I was like, hang on a minute, these are business competitions. So I'm not a fan of nominations and votes, because that becomes a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Look what happened at the Eurovision on Sunday. Judged by a panel, Britain won, but the public vote went to the Ukraine. I know why it went to the Ukraine, but what I'm saying is this is what happens with business awards if they're voted for, because they become a popularity contest and who has the biggest following. So I'm a big fan of a proper judging panel of business experts where the awards are transparent. And then I think as an individual, you have to ask yourself, if you are not going to blow your own trumpet, nobody can do it better than you. You have to put yourself out there, and you have to get over yourself, frankly. And you have to kick your butt and say, do I want my business to grow and expand? If so, this is going to be a great vehicle for me to do that. So I think it's a confidence thing. And I think sometimes talking it over with somebody else, and that's why I love talking to people who phone me about the awards and ask for advice, because I will give advice about any awards. But what I'm saying is that I can often empower people to have that confidence to say, do you know what? Everything you've told me, you should be entering. I'll be very honest with people. I had a lady yesterday on the phone who set her business up 6 weeks ago. I said, no, come back in a year's time. It's the wrong time for you.
Yeah.
But these are the things that you need to think about in the next year, so you can get lots of ducks in a row ready. So she had lots of advice. There's a great book called Winner, which I contributed to, written by Denise O'Leary. Really recommend it. I don't get any commission, by the way, for recommending the book. But I wrote the foreword to the book, and I also contributed some of my knowledge. And that takes you through lots of information about how you can work out if it's the time's right for you. But I would say if you've been in business minimum of 6 months, but I would really say a year, to be honest.
Yeah.
A year, you've got satisfied customers, that your trajectory of your growth is going in an upward direction. That might not necessarily mean your figures, because the judges in a new business category are not necessarily going to expect to see a profit in the first 3 years.
Sure.
What they are going to want to see is that you have got growth plans in place, that you've got forecasting there, and that you understand your industry, and that you've got business acumen. And it can really propel a new business forward. So I think those are the things people should be thinking about, and not thinking you're not good enough.
And do you think that's one of the things, sort of certainly within Changemaker Central, the membership that we have for our speakers, authors and coaches, I think there is something about, as you say, getting the ducks in the row and really supporting yourself. But I think a lot of it does come down to comparisonitis, or the, oh my goodness, but I'm a tiny business. How can I possibly prove things, right?
No, I think that even a small business with a sort of in turnover 20, 30,000, there are rewards out there for you. I don't think you should let that put you off. You should be thinking about how many satisfied customers that you've got, and what difference are you potentially making in your local community? What difference are you making in your industry? You might be giving up time to be on an industry panel, or work within an industry organization, as well as running your business, as well as looking after your family. So if you're unsure, talk it over with somebody like yourself, a business coach, myself, and get some advice. Don't discount it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I love most about opening this subject up is that it starts people thinking about their businesses slightly differently. It starts people, so much of the time, I think we can be stuck inside our businesses, but looking at it from the potential of what would I need to do to win an award makes you look at the business from outside.
Exactly. And that's one of the massive benefits of doing a business award entry, because it gives you that opportunity to do a 360-degree look at your business. And the information you glean from that, you'll be able to use in other areas of your business. So it's never a waste of time. No. One other thing that I would bring up when we're talking about what prevents people entering awards is some people have this in their head that awards are fixed.
Right.
My experience is that they're not. As long as you do your due diligence about the awards that you're entering, and as I said earlier, check everything out about the awards, from their social media to their judging panel, etc., and their award entry process. I don't personally believe that goes on. Not in mainstream business awards. It might go on in some industry awards, but mainstream general business awards, I've yet to come across that. So I think, take a step back, think about where you want to go with your business, and just put your feet forward and go for it.
That sounds like, sort of, well, given your whole kind of like, I'm just going to dive in, that makes a lot of sense. And I think there is something to be said for, if you are a cautious person, you could always do a pretend one. Like, you could always literally go, hang on a minute, I'm going to research just how long it might take me and what's missing and what the gaps are, in order to not enter for 2022, but to do a rehearsal entry for 2023. Because
I'd agree with that. I would say, we've got our questions are on our website. You don't even have to register to see the questions. Some awards you have to sort of just register your email to get access to the entry form. But I think that's really good advice, Helena. And I think then you could send it to a colleague, or send it to a coach or somebody else to look it over and say, You know, what do you think? Do you think that I'm good enough to enter this year? Do you think that I've got all my ducks in a row?
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. And yeah, certainly some of the people I'm speaking to at this stage about my awards, you know, I will be very honest and I will say, you know, maybe next year this is for you.
Yeah.
So
great.
it's not, and if you know, you've got no time over the next 3 weeks, for example, with our awards to complete your entry, I mean, it takes a good few hours to do it properly.
That was literally going to be my question, Debbie. I'm like, so if I was now going, hang on a minute, wait a second, I think that I might actually want to do this. Approximately how much time might I need to set aside?
I would say if you've never entered any awards ever before, and this is the very first time you've done it, you need to put aside at least a day. And you could split that into 2 half days. If you've done award entries before, then you can often repurpose and update that information. So it never takes as long once you've done one. But I think my judges always say they can pick out the people that decided to put an entry in at 4 o'clock and we shut at 5. Because the information is scant and it's not really there and they haven't put the right evidence in and they haven't completed the questions properly.
Right.
But I think, you know, if you're going to do something, it's worth doing it well. That's just my view. Although we did have a lady who won one of the awards last year and she came up to me at the end of the evening. She said, I've had a fabulous night. Didn't think I'd win because I only started on my entry the morning that you closed. And I said, oh, have you entered awards before? And she said, no, never. But I solidly worked on it from 8 o'clock in the morning. And I was one of your 10 to 5 submissions. And so she worked on it all day. But what she did have was a lot of the information to hand. So she had testimonials, she had case studies, she had got information she could lay her hands on.
Yeah, and that makes complete sense, which is why it's that whole, there is a point in time in your business where you start to actively do something around this. But I think so let me ask this question. Is it a bit like an addiction? Once you've entered one, you kind of want to enter lots?
I think when you win, the feeling is like so euphoric that it is kind of, it can be a bit addictive. And we've certainly seen over the years people re-entering lots of times. And that's always lovely. And it's a great compliment that people do that. But and I think sometimes when you realise the value behind it, and I know I entered myself into the FSB Awards this year, East of England. Yeah, I didn't win. I was a finalist. I didn't win. But I had a great lunch, met some great people, and came away with a new judge for my business awards, which was great. Somebody is sitting on our table. And, you know, my business was out there. It was in front of 300 people. And, you know, the connections and the opportunities I got from that, just from being a finalist, were amazing.
That's actually the other part of it, is that just so there's an educational process that goes on with just applying, but there's also this opportunity to be connected and potential collaborations that are actually available, because of course awards need to be given out. Therefore there is an excuse to actively not only create content, because you are out and about and documenting everything. If you've listened to Kelly and I for long enough, you'll know that that's actively what you're going to do. But there is also this potential, as you say, for being seen, but also going with the intention of you're walking into what we would call a like-valued, like-minded environment, because everybody there has actively either, you know, they've come along representing the business, or they are looking at being, you know, sort of awarded for something. So there's the word that's present is there's an ambition somewhere in there, or there's a quality to the kind of people that are there. So whether that is you're looking for podcast guests, whether that is you are kind of going along and eyeing those up, you could come at the attending of an awards from an entirely different, you know, sort of as a business building exercise as well, right?
Totally. Because remember, you're going to get a program, you're going to get everybody's details in the program. There's going to be a buzz on social media. I mean, our reach that day just at the FSB Awards was a few thousand.
Amazing.
They had screens up, you know, social media walls. So we decided that our table would be the one to take loads of pictures. And we were permanently up on that wall.
Nice.
And it was just lovely because the table that I was on, I had actually asked to be sat with a company that I also knew who were finalists. But when we got there, they'd made a mistake and we weren't sitting with them. So I ended up on a table with people I didn't know, but I came away with lots of people I do now know. Fabulous. And had a really, really fabulous time. And, you know, like, we all work so hard. We work so hard all year. And is it nice to sort of sit back, relax, and enjoy celebrating success? There's nothing better.
Yeah. We are big fans of that, and pretty much in any coaching that I do, people are made to celebrate before they get anywhere near any of the problems, because we don't stop. Like, entrepreneurially minded creative folk don't stop. They move on to something else, and an award is also a recognition in a point of time, I think. So that makes a big thing too. So I want to go back and just give some value to those who are still kind of thinking about it. What are the big mistakes, you know, sort of having seen many application forms in your time, what are the big mistakes that people make when they're applying, and what tips can you give?
Yeah, so I'm happy to talk this, because obviously for many years I was on the other side. So I was doing entries and I was entering myself.
Yeah.
So I'd never seen it from the other side. So when we opened the awards, obviously then I was able to sit from the other side and also listen to judges' feedback. Yeah. And the biggest mistakes, first of all, is eligibility. So people don't check the categories or the awards themselves properly and check their eligibility. So that's the first thing. Make sure you know when the deadline is, because you won't be able to submit it afterwards. And just like my phone is red hot the week of the awards closure, it's also red hot for about 3 days afterwards, with people asking to put late submissions in, which we do not do. The third thing is people do not answer the question.
Which is crazy, right?
Totally. Do not, please, copy and paste stuff off your website and think that that's okay.
Right.
Because it's not.
Yeah.
You know, if the judges are reading an entry that you've put together, they will probably look at your website. They will look at your social media. They will look at your online reviews, or some of them.
Yeah.
But remember that they're judging probably hundreds of entries. So just try and make it easy for them to read and understand, but make sure you answer the question, and don't do things like see my website as an answer to a question. Yes, people do it.
Get that, do you?
Yes. If you are asked for 500 words and you write 100, then you haven't answered the question properly.
Right.
Okay. If you're asked for 500 words and you do 350, but you've answered the question concisely and you've not repeated yourself, and that's all great information, then that's fine. But if you are way below word count on a question, the chances are you haven't addressed what the awards are asking for. So those are the real common ones that we see. Also, we see lack of evidence. So the judges will want to see evidence to back up what you're saying in your entry. So if you make claims about the growth of your business, then you need to back that up. I would always suggest putting your financial evidence in there. So a copy of your accounts, for example, even if it's not asked for. It is in our awards, but even if it's not asked for, because that shows that you've got business acumen. And, you know, as I said, not all judges are expecting businesses to be making huge profits at this stage, because we've all had a really difficult couple of years, unless you're in certain industries.
Yeah.
And I think putting relevant evidence, so case studies, testimonials are really important. So you might sort of say, oh, well, I've got 50, reviews on Google, but you are then expecting the judges to go and sit and sift through those. So what I would do is pick out 3 or 4 top ones and put those into a nice document and say, these are 5 of our testimonials, but you can see more on Google or Facebook or Track a Trade, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
If you are working with clients and there's a transformation involved, then talk through that transformation. That case study of how you took somebody when they arrived at your business and where they are now.
Yeah.
So there's all those sort of things. And people leave out information which can make all the difference. So if you work with a charity or a project on top of what you're doing with your business, never leave that out, because that will get you extra points, because you
Right.
are not just a business for a business sake.
Yeah.
You're doing stuff in the local community. Also, I think they leave out things like customer surveys. You could do a customer survey and put that in, staff
Right.
surveys, all sorts of things that actually prove what you're saying. So if you say my customer service is brilliant,
Yeah.
well, then what is brilliant about your customer
Prove it,
service?
right?
So that's the big mistake. People make claims, they don't substantiate them, when they could easily substantiate them.
That's really, really helpful. And I think, again, from a holistic perspective, sort of like, again, I'm always going to refer to the fact that Kelly and I will every single time go, is it building your business? Are you highlighting your business? We always talk about, you are an ambassador for your business. And I think awards are one of the best ways that you can be an ambassador for the business. But that is part of that representation that actually goes on. So I know we've got a couple of people here listening. Christina and Lisa, or Tina and Lisa are listening, and they are, they've gone kind of the next level. I think Tina's won one of your awards.
That's
and
right.
they've then actually come to you and highlighted that there was a category missing, and they've now kind of sponsored it, right?
Yeah. So we've created the Best Businesswoman in Trades and Construction. And
Nice.
Christina and Tina and Lisa are sponsoring this category for us this year, and are really behind it. And we're really on a mission to really celebrate female tradeswomen.
Great.
So I'm glad we're able to shine a light on women that are, in a very male-dominated industry. I mean,
for
if
sure.
I'm brutally honest, and I think
Go
I
on.
can be, we shouldn't be living in a world where we need to run Business Women Awards.
No.
And I get challenged on this, usually by men. And I'm like, because we are still lagging behind on recognition. And until we have an equal platform, this is why we still need to raise the profile of businesswomen, because actually businesswomen are the backbone of the UK economy.
Yeah.
And
so in a commensurate way, it kind of makes sense that that's actually in there. And that probably is also true for European kind of, sort of like every country and every, sort of area will have its own sort of focus as far as that goes. I just think it's really interesting, sort of like, you might not. So if you're thinking about this and you've got an established business, they're just actually saying, we're so excited about being sponsors of this new category for women in trades and construction, which is just great. And that's actually what I was going to say. So, I think they might not, most speakers, authors and coaches get into this arena and then go, oh gosh, what have I done? Because they want to change some kind of messaging. They've got a message to share out there. They want to use their creativity to make the world a better place, or to raise awareness in some way, or to bring understanding in some way. And I think you literally saw a disparity that was there, which led to you probably shifting and pivoting the whole of your business, because this is most likely, a big part of what you do now, and it takes a lot of organizing. But actually you put the time and focus into that, albeit in a, oh my goodness me, and then learned along the way. But I think there's something to be said for someone like sort of Tina just going, hang on a minute, I'm not having that. Didn't necessarily create an award of her own, but actually went, well, hang on a minute, how do we address that? And so finding someone like yourself and going, okay, hang on a minute, can we sponsor the piece that's actually in there? That's a different way of making a difference that many of our listeners might not have thought about, right?
Definitely. There are ways of getting involved with things that don't necessarily involve you having to do something from scratch. So animal services category came about because I kept getting approached by women who ran animal businesses and said, there's very little for us out there. There is these big pet awards, but they all go to the really big pet companies. Yet I'm running a dog walking business, or a dog massage business, or like the winner was actually, she runs a pig farm, Cute Little Pigs.
Fabulous.
And she breeds pigs, and people can go and have a look at the farm and spend some time there. And, so we created the category because we just thought, well, let's showcase these women. So, just reach out to people.
Yeah, I think, and I think that is actually, one of the key things is so much of the time we don't necessarily, we have that thought of something should be done about that. And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, if you're having that thought, it's actually you that's responsible for making sure that that goes out in the world in a way that works, right?
Yeah, definitely. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
if you're sitting there thinking about something, like we're going off track about awards, but whatever you're sitting there thinking about, I'm living proof. I run business exhibitions. I own a networking company for mums. I've written a book. I've got a podcast. I've got awards. I've got a marketing business. There is no limit to what you can do.
Yeah.
You just have to go for it, and you go and get some expert advice. You were my first person I came into contact with when I was in the very early stages of writing my book.
Yeah.
And you come into contact with experts and find those experts. There are people out there. We have set up other awards, actually. So I've acted as an advisor. So we set up the National Paralegal Awards for the Professional Paralegal Register. So we set that up for the first year for them. And I've also had 4 or 5, I think it must be 5 actually, people that I've worked with as an advisor, helping them set up awards.
Nice.
So, there is help out there for whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and I think it's that connection, collaboration, the you can't know. 9 times out of 10, when you put your hand up and you go, yes, I'll do that, in 2.5 years down the line, you look back at it and you go, hang on a minute, that I didn't anticipate any of these other things to have happened. But that's what happens. You take a step and you see what else is available, right?
Definitely, 100%. And I mean, with you working with speakers, coaches, trainers, awards will open the door for your speaking engagements, for opportunities, because if somebody is running an event, they're more likely to choose people who've won an award of some sort.
For sure. And that makes complete sense. And the other thing that I want to highlight to everybody is you've also got a nice little podcast now that's out of this, haven't you?
Yes, I've had the podcast a year. We just celebrated our first birthday last year. So there's currently 42 interviews on there.
Amazing.
And that goes through we've got interviews about evidence. That's one of the earlier episodes. But we also I've spent time interviewing successful entrepreneurs who've won awards. I've interviewed sponsors and I've interviewed judges. So there's lots of information, and not just my awards. Some of these people have won other awards. And I did an interview with the lovely Donna O'Toole, who is involved with the Great British Entrepreneur Awards. And, she's also an awards organizer. So it was great to talk to her.
Right.
So there's all kinds of stuff on the podcast. We're getting a couple of thousand downloads a month, which is quite nice.
Fabulous.
Steady. So it's on all the channels. Go and have a listen.
No, it's really, really good. And I'm going to wrap us up because I think people have probably got what they need at the moment. I'm going to pop a couple of links in because the definitely go and check out Debbie's website, whether you're looking at entering an award and actually have gone, hang on a minute. If somebody can do it in a day, I can definitely do it in 3 weeks. So that works really well. But it might also be that you just want to start thinking about how can I build in the an award getting into my business, and start looking around and going, what's the appropriate award for me? Is it a local, a national, a global?
Can I just mention a website? I don't know if you can put it in. So it's called awards-list.co.uk. And that pretty much lists all the awards globally, locally, nationally. It's a brilliant website, brilliant resource. You can go and have a look at that. And I do recommend getting a copy of Denise's book, because I think, it depends how your brain works, but certainly you can work through the book as you go, which I think is really good.
And for those of you out there who are specifically speakers, authors and coaches, so I'm going to pop a link in here just after we finish that is called Are You Worthy of an Award, which is the sort of the training that Kelly and I did on this a little while back. But I'm also going to put in a link to the resource that we've got. So where you've got the awards-list.com, actually we did one that's specific for speakers, authors and coaches. So that actually kind of works really well as well. So I'll pop all of these links in, you know, sort of at the end, and just, yeah, obviously you are reach outable too. So, you know, sort of like there's lots of different ways of getting in touch with Debbie. I'm going to put all of those in there as well. But essentially, go to the bestbusinesswomanawards.com and you'll find all the information that you need about that one. And in September is when the actual kind of awards ceremony is happening. And so, you know, if you're thinking about it just from that perspective of, do I even want to, you know, maybe just attending something like that.
Oh, you can't attend our awards, I'm afraid, unless you are. You have to be a finalist or with a finalist.
Yes, see, look at
or a sponsor, or with a sponsor. Maybe Christina can get you an invite. Yeah. Lisa. Well, we make it that way because it's exclusive then, and it is very much about a celebration of the people in the room. And I haven't gone down the route yet because we easily get 400 people at this event without any problem. And I don't want the people who are finalists not to be able to have the tickets that they want because it's people that aren't finalists. Do you see what I mean?
And that makes complete sense. And so that becomes yet another thing to sort of check out. But if you're watching this on the replay, if you're watching this live, tell us what you're going to do as a result of listening. What tiny bit of information has got you thinking. And if you're watching it on the replay, we'd still like to know. And if you've still got questions for Debbie, just, you know, ping her or tag her in here. She's in the group. So,
I'm in the group now. So always happy to help. Always happy to help.
Yeah, which is really good. Well, all I want to do is I just want to say thank you so very much for just being here and sharing the wealth of knowledge that you've got. I wish you not a rush for the last 3 and the last 3 days and the 3 days that follow, but I suspect that it's always going to be the same.
Yeah, it is, and we're used to it now. And I think the first couple of years I was a bit like, oh, is this really how people? But it is how people behave around awards. And the problem I'm up against is there are a lot of awards out there that do extend and we don't, because I feel if you've worked hard to get your entry in for the deadline and then got an email saying we've extended it, you'd be annoyed.
Yeah, there's a beautiful integrity in that. And that's one of the reasons why we just love you, Debbie. It's great. Well, it's been a joy talking to you. And, well, I'll see you in September.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Helena.
You're welcome. Bye.